Hello and welcome back, guys. This is Ibrahim Qureshi here, and today we are going to continue the topic of VMware updates. So we basically covered the updates around ESX host and upgrades as well around ESX host in the last session. Today we are going to look at the vCenter and how, like, first thing what we have to do is we have to update the vCenter server before we touch the ESX host or upgrade the ESX host. So depending on which version you are or where you are, version 6.5 and 6.7 are both end of life this year. When I say this year, it's literally quite imminent. It's 15th of October when you are going to when VMware is going to say, okay, that's no longer supported, no updates coming, and that's it. Unless you get extended support, you will not VMware will not be supporting you. Now, what I have heard from some of the vExpert and others is VMware is going to charge heavily for getting the extended support for the older versions like 6.5 and 6.7. So it's in your best interest to upgrade to version 7. And just to cover off this topic, we have a vCenter which is version 7.0.3. So we are already on version 7, so we don't need to worry, we don't need to upgrade. But if any of you guys want us to do a session on updating version 6.5 to version 7 or version 6.7 to version 7, let me know, and then we can do a session on that. It will be a 45 minutes to an hour session, I guess, because updates takes time. And also you need to remember, if you have older versions running with external PSCs, they will be become embedded. So they will go through a process called convergence. Yeah, just about missed it. So the convergence basically takes place where your external PSC will be embedded. And also you need to remember, there is a major change from this particular release, version 7. They have discontinued the Windows vCenter server completely. Okay, so these are some of the topics which you need to remember when you're working on updates. Now, also the most important thing before you upgrade is check what you have in your environment, check what is supported, check what is going to be not supported, and have a proper plan. You can't just go and upgrade. When I say check, it could not just be a VMware product that needs to be checked. It could be your backup infrastructure. It could be your storage infrastructure. So you need to liaise with your backup team and find out what exactly is going to happen when you upgrade to a particular version. So say, for example, you're running 6.5 and you want to go to version 7. Go and find out from your backup teams whether they support it. If they don't know the answer, which most likely they won't, they will go back to the vendor, whichever backup vendor, example Veeam or eVault or whatever it is that they use. I think there are like so many other vendors out there, but just as an example, they will basically be in line anyway. So they would be testing and they would be saying, okay, you can go to this particular version, but your backup team needs to go and confirm it from the vendor, whichever it is, and say, yeah, you can go to, or you can upgrade it. So, and again, in your production environment, if you are doing this, I would say, even if you don't have a test and dev, just create a test or dev environment just to go through the process, and upgrade a test environment from 6.5 to version 7 and see how it goes, so that you get familiarized with the process. Now, it's quite straightforward anyway, but the reason for that is once you upgrade it, you check other components, backups is running and everything, and it's a safer way to do it. So you don't want to upgrade your production environment without doing a test or a dev environment and then suffer the consequences later. So upgrade is a big thing, and you must put in as much as time and planning in there to do it successfully in the first go. Now, from version 7.0, what VMware has done is they have built in a small tool. Well, I call it small tool, but basically they have built in some checks which will help us as VMware administrator. Now, you can see my vCenter server. In the previous labs, it was running 7.0.0. Now I have upgraded, I have rebuilt it, not upgraded it, to 7.0.3, which is having this version. However, I still see updates available here. Now, this basically you'll see if your vCenter is allowed to go and talk to the VMware portal, and then they will basically check for updates and keep you updated whether there are new versions around. So when you click on this updates available, what will happen is it will take you to this section, which is vCenter and then update planner. Now this is completely new when you compare to 6.7 or 6.5, because we never had anything like this in the past, where basically what we are going to do is we are going to see what is going to happen. So this is going to jump to version 7.0.3 .00500. Okay, and then the build number, correct me if I'm wrong, this is ending with 866, right? So what did we have here? So there you go, it's a different build number. The ending with 4570, and the one here is a newer build version. As you can see straight away, it's ending with 0866. Definitely a new version. Can't remember when I installed it, but it was roughly around a month ago. So these updates were released on 3rd of March. Okay, so fairly new. Some people are quite reluctant pushing out so new updates, like it's only 15 to 16 days, right? This is why these sort of things would, if you do want to update it, you would do it in a test environment first and see how it goes. Okay, and also you have a release notes link, which exactly shows you what is fixed and what is not. Well, what is fixed and what it is going to help you with. So what's new is the section which you would be looking for. So this release resolves this particular. For more information on this vulnerability impact on VMware products, see this. So this is sort of things which you need to go through and understand, and find out what exactly is the issues which are going to be resolved by this, and just any red lines if you think. I need a mail. Just 1 second, guys. Sorry guys, so wait. Basically what I was saying is, you can check the earlier releases of vSphere 6.7. so we have so many updates. So 7.0.0 A, B, C, D, and then we got the update 1, update 1A, C, and 1C, and then in update 2 we still had update A to D, and then now we are on update 3A, and then this one basically is the 3C now. Okay, so if you click on this release notes again, it basically it is a time consuming thing. You need to go through and understand what is new, each and every thing, just to see whether there is any issues, and also go to VMTN forum and other places where you have sorry guys, yeah, kids are up, as you can imagine. So anyway, so these are the things which you need to spend some time. So resolved and issues, when we see that, these are the things exactly what you will be seeing, which will be fixed when you update to this. So vSAN issues, network issues, server configuration issues, vSphere HA and fault tolerance issues. So each one of them, they have description on what is getting resolved. So these are the sort of things which I would be particularly focusing on, like HA and fault tolerance issues. you do not see an alarm when a second VM in vSphere fault tolerant pair cannot power on. So that is an issue there, right? If there is something which is unable to power on, you want to see and you want to be able to go and power it on, right? So this is a quite major issue, I would say, in the vSphere. But again, not a lot of people are running fault tolerant in the vSphere client. Even though you set a vCenter cannot start the fault tolerant second VM, you do not see the alarm when the second VM that duplicates a machine, critical virtual machine protected by FD, fails to start. So these sort of things, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you need to deep dive and you need to understand what is it resolving. If it is an update, there will be a lot of bug fixes, that's for sure. If it's an upgrade, then that is something which is going to require a lot of planning and a lot of testing before we do that. I strongly recommend you to have, if you don't have a particular environment with a dev or test environment and you only run production, where most of the people, because of the licensing cost VMware has, they don't run dev environment, they only have production, or maybe they have test. If you do have test, you are quite lucky. Just do, and I hope your test is in line with your production. Do an upgrade on your test and then move on. Okay, enough of talking now. Let's move on and see what do we have here. So this is a generate report, and in here we have two reports. One is interoperability. Now what does that mean? It's similar to what I have just been discussing. Interoperability is so I mentioned about third-party vendors like backups and it could be any other vendor which you hook on with EMC or any other vendor, that you need to check on your own. But this particular tool, interoperability, will help you see your own environment. So there you go, we got an error. Customer experience improvement program is the one which is it's looking for. So that's something which I haven't joined. So that's quite clever. They have hooked that this updates reports to that. Okay, so interoperability basically means if you have a version 6.5 and if you have a version 6.7 and you have multiple hosts with 6.5 and 6.7 and you have different versions maybe, or different updates maybe in these, so this report will will generate everything which you have, will check everything you have, and it will basically try to map it online with a report similar to what we did when we installed vCenter server, right? Interoperability report. It's the same report they will pull up, and it will show where you are, what you can upgrade, what you can't. So if you haven't seen that session, check out that session, the vCenter installation session, where we basically checked how interoperability tool works. So if this tool is not working, you can do it yourself, right? Let's see what it says. If we go monitor interoperability, yeah, it's going to see the same error again. Okay, so the second thing here which we had when we click on generate report is pre-update checks. Now let's see what it does. Now any guesses how to update vCenter server? Anyone? No issues found. So that's.
So I have one question.
Yeah.
So if like the older version it will be 6.0, then we have to update to 7.0. It will not happen, or manually need to be doing.
If you have a lot of data on 6.0, you need to plan an upgrade from 6.0 to 6.5 at least. That is the only allowed version which will allow you to upgrade from 6.
But directly we cannot go for 7.0.
Not from 6.0. It's not allowed. In the vCenter, I think it's been a long while, right? In the beginning, we did the session around vCenters, and in that we discussed that the only versions which are allowed to upgrade is 6.5 and 6.7. The 6.0 was end of life like 3 to 4 years ago. Okay,
Okay.
so the only allowed version to upgrade is 6.5 and 6.7, and these two versions are also very soon going to be end of support, end of life, and not end of support, I guess. If you have a lot of money, you can buy support from VMware. That will be extended support, which will start from 15th of October. But from what I heard, as I said, VMware are charging very heavily for extended support. So the wiser thing would be to upgrade vCenter 6.5 to 6.7, or vCenter 6.5 or vCenter 6.7 to version 7 as soon as you can. You still have 4 months. You can plan it, you can test it, and then you can upgrade it to avoid any heavy cost from VMware. Okay, so the updates we have run, and then we got a result. It's pre-update checks have passed. Okay, so that means it's all passed. Now the next question for you guys is, how do you update a vCenter server? Like, where would you do it? Obviously for ESX host, you saw you did it from here, right? We looked at it, and we can just use that tool update manager and run it from here. So what about vCenter server? Anyone? Sonia, do you remember? We do it from the VMware interface. Okay, so log into the VMware interface, which is on port 5480, right? Same
I
name.
didn't realize I was on mute. Yeah.
From the VMware interface. Did you answer it right? I didn't hear
No,
you.
I didn't answer it.
Okay, so the VMware interface basically is the place you will go to for updating the vCenter. Now you can see here we have the update ISO file. Okay, so there are multiple ways of doing this. If you don't have a vCenter which is talking to the internet, what you can do is you can go download this file, yeah, attach it to the vCenter server, log in, yeah, using the administrator privilege, well, which is going to be root anyway, and then stage the ISO software. If you're doing command line, this is the command line, you know. Well, these are the commands you will be running. Software package list, and then you'll see hyphen stage, so it will show you stage. Then you can give to install the staged RPMs, you will give software package install and then hyphen stage, so it will pick up the stage ones and install it. Here it will pick up the stage ones and list it that it is done. Okay, so that's how you do it from command line, obviously. So basically we will be logging in here, and this is basically the VMware interface, and you can see last time when it was rebooted. I guess this is when it was built anyway. I haven't rebooted it since it was built, so 22 days ago is when the vCenter was built, so just to give you an idea. And it's running this particular version, and we want to update it. So over here we have so many things. We discussed this last time. I don't want to go in details, but you can obviously enable shell and disable shell. I think network, if you want to change the DNS, sometimes obviously you do have a requirement for that. You can go here and change it. As you can see, the DNS addresses are here now. And again, the NTP as well, you will be changing from here. You wouldn't touch the firewall because it's not, basically it's something you don't need to get involved with, but the NTP server is something you definitely want to get involved with. I haven't set it up because it's syncing from my ESX host, and my ESX host are having up-to-date NTP servers, but it's a good idea to add an NTP server there. Now for updates, you can see very easily you have something called updates here. If you click on that, it will go and check for the updates. And it has found it. So the same release date which we saw, right, March 29th, and it is got the updates. Now you can also download it, as I was saying here. Download this. If you click here, it will take you to VMware website and it will allow you to download it. And if you download it from there, it will be an ISO file, and that ISO file, when it is connected, all you have to do is, instead of doing command line, if you want to do it from the VAMI interface, you just go and say check CD-ROM, yeah, and then it will basically check that it has a mounted file, and then you can stage and then install. So at the moment what we are going to do is we are going to do just staging only, and then what will happen is it will say install after that. So let's do stage only. Let's upgrade this vCenter server. Should have done a snapshot. No one even reminded me. Anyway, I'm just staging. So let me quickly go and take a snapshot of my vCenter server. Where are you? So first thing first, this is a rookie mistakes, right? Doing anything like this, what is suggested is to take a snapshot. vCenter server update 7.0.3 excuse me, and it's me taking it, so my initials, and the snapshot is done. In the middle of the copying, but it doesn't matter. Didn't want to cancel it because it can break the copying process, and it can cause problems to update again when we try to stage it again. So let's let it happen. We took a snapshot. Staging is basically copying some bunch of files. Who cares, right? We are not installing it at this point. It's just basically whatever package is there to install it, which is around about 7,000 MB, right? I'm getting very poor in maths these days. And then that's divided by 1024, so that's 7 GB. That's a massive update then. Alright guys, that's going to take a while to stage, but it's doing pretty good. It's done 26% already. If you expand it, you'll see some more details. There you go, 6 GB. This is what I was saying, right? Roughly around 7 GB. So 6 GB is the there's a lot of updates in there, I guess. So definitely taking a snapshot is the best idea you can, best thing you can do, because this is going to have a lot of updates pushed in, and you don't want to basically update it and realize, okay, it's not working, or this is not working, or that is not working. Then you don't have a revert, like a snapshot to revert to. And again, this is why I always suggest, it doesn't matter whether you're doing vCenter or any other server, or even installing a simple thing. Best thing you can do is to, before you start, have your change plan. In your change plan, say you will take a snapshot, then you will start log in, then you will do this, do that. Sometimes you can also do a shutdown of the server and then take a snapshot. That will be the recommended way from VMware, but we can also take a snapshot while the VM is running. So that is very important, saying that we are going to shut it down or you are just going to take a snapshot, but taking the snapshot is the important bit. Having said that, once you have this snapshot and you do the update, and if it is successful, so maybe after 72 hours or 2 to 3 days, remember to go back and delete it, because I have seen number of times people take snapshot and leave it behind. And to be honest, I'm telling that you'll find out how bad I have been these days. when we start doing VROps and we start pulling reports of snapshots and everything. Anyway, so what that means is we basically have to keep our environment healthy. There are consequences if you don't delete snapshots, right? What are the consequences if you have a snapshot running for too long and it is going to eat up all your disk space? Then anything on that data store is going to be affected. All the other VMs are going to be affected as well. They are going to go read only because there's no disk to write. The other thing is the VM itself will have performance issue, or even the ESX host will have performance issues, which will directly affect anything else running on that particular ESX host. So, and this is why VMware suggested to keep it no more than 72 hours. For some reason, a lot of people think, can you take a snapshot and keep it forever? Right? I don't know why people say that, but yeah, that is basically taking a backup. Not you need to ask your backup team to take a backup and ask them to store it indefinitely if they can do that. Snapshot is only for 72 hours, and that should be it. It can, if you want to follow a procedure, you can push it till 10 days, I would say you are going to delete it in 7 days or something, or even you can say you can delete you will be deleting it on any snapshots will be deleted within 7 days, or 5 days. 5 working days is enough, or 7, because sometimes you have weekends and all that. And then after 7 days you still have 2 or 3 days cushion there, and say delete it after 10 days. You can automate the deletion. You don't need to do it manually if you have a bigger estate as well. And also what you can do is run reports to check how many snapshots are behind 10 days, and then you can directly target that. Now if you are having any automation, you can obviously put some exceptions for certain machines if you want to keep them beyond 10 days. Some people are quite persistent and they'll say, I want to keep it for a month. I particularly don't like it, but again, you can set some exceptions to like using tags and stuff like that to stop deletion on some of the machines. But then that is only if you are using automation tools like vRealize operations and stuff like that. If you're using a script, then the script is going to be plain yes or no. Anything you have with a snapshot is going to be discarded after 10 days or after whatever day you set, maybe 12 days. Okay, so that's what you need to remember. Any question, guys? Any questions and girls so far? Let me go and pause on the video recording. It's already 30 minutes, so we want to speed up the process on the recording. I don't want people to just wait and watch the download process. Let me pause this. So we have successfully downloaded the we have successfully staged the patches, which means they have been copied over to your vCenter server, and they are around about 7 gig. So we are going to start the next process, which is basically installing them. So if we click on install, you need to accept the terms and conditions, and then click on next. Maybe this time we'll join the CEIP, which is customer experience program, because last time I didn't. Okay, join it because it helps us to check some interoperability and all that, so we can do it later on. So let's join. It was unselected, so let's join and then click next, and there you go. Estimated downtime is massive. Oh yeah, I can imagine, because it's more than 6 gig, right? Nearly 7 gig. And then there you go. I have a backup of the vCenter server and its associated database. Can you see that? So even VMware suggests you to have a backup of your vCenter server. And while we pause the recording, guys, we made sure, like, I run Veeam backup in my environment, and we were checking whether I have a backup of my vCenter server, and I got a full backup last night, which is Saturday, and I have a full backup of 7 days ago as well. So we do have a backup in Veeam for my vCenter server. So I'm quite happy with the backup. It looks like it's hung, but yeah, once it's unhung, I will show you around on the session as well. But there you go. This, you need to select that and acknowledge that you have a vCenter backup, and this is why I opened Veeam and showed you that it's good idea, always good idea to have a backup as well. Okay, snapshots are there for recoveries, but you know, having a backup does help. Obviously, sometimes if you revert to a snapshot, you may have problems as well. Some people just take snapshot on snapshot and they break the chain as well. So there you go. That's pretty much it, and we hit finish and just wait and watch. So everything is copied on the vCenter server, so all the files which you need to be there are there. All we are going to do is basically install these updates now, and it is going to take some time. So it's stopping all the services, as you can see. So this would be the first thing you would be doing, updating the vCenter server, and then once you have done this, then you go back and, you know, create your profiles, create your once you created your baseline groups and baselines, then you can start remediating your ESX host. But the first thing you need to do is a vCenter server. Okay, so it may take 165 minutes, it said. So I'm going to pause the video again and resume it once this installation process is almost done. Okay, save time then. All means, if anyone has any questions, they can comment in below as well. We had a really interesting question just now from Sonia, asking whether we can update ESX host to a latest version or a build number beyond the vCenter. So the official answer is there's nothing stopping you to do it, but however, you will see performance issues, or you may see DRS issues and stuff like that. So this is why VMware recommends that you have your vCenter updated first. And last week we launched the vCenter. Last week we launched the video for updating ESX host, creating baselines and everything, but we didn't do the updates. One of the reason what I want to suggest is you need to make sure your vCenter is first updated to the latest build and latest version, and then you can update your ESX host to that latest build and latest versions. And that is what is recommended from VMware as well. Now, there is nothing stopping you to do it. You may do it, but if you run into issues and problems when you go back to VMware, and I have seen it in the past, they will say your vCenter is running this and your host is running a new version. And that is common when you see you have a massive environment, your vCenter is not been updated for last 6-7 months, and you're going to add another 2-3 hosts. You go and download a ISO of ESX from the internet and you install it. What you'll be seeing is oh, I need an ISO which is 6.7. Yeah, you got an ISO of 6.7, but the build number is newer than the vCenter server. So accidentally you install an ESX host which is a newer version, newer build than the existing ESX host in the cluster, right? What you were looking at when you were downloading is the build number, the ESX version, which is 6.5, right? Maybe you installed 6.5 update 2 and your old environment is running 6.5 update 1. So that's another issue you can see very commonly, where people literally misjudge what exactly it is. So this is why I always suggest to have a repository on your infrastructure where you keep all your ISOs from the beginning. So if you build the vCenter and the ESX host, have those there. So tomorrow if you need to build a similar version for that particular cluster which is running that particular base build number, you can go back and pick that ISO and then install it from there, rather than going to the internet and downloading the latest one from vCenter, which will make your environment inconsistent. Obviously, there are tools which will tell you which ESX is which version and all that. If you're using VROps, you can do a quick report, or it will basically highlight you, and it has some built-in dashboards which will show you how many different flavors of ESX you are running, and you'll be amazed, and you'll think, oh, I was thinking only I have 6.7, but now actually you have installed so many different versions that you have 6.7, but you have this build number, that build number, and you have so many other build numbers. And when it comes to troubleshooting, it becomes even harder because you don't have a consistent environment. So bear in mind about that. But as a rule of thumb, what I want to say is, if you're working on updates, first thing, do it on your test lab. If you don't have one, just create one for 60 days. VMware gives you the free license. Build 6.5 and upgrade to 6.7, or if you have 6.5, you can directly go to version 7 anyway. But when you're doing that, also make sure you are following the best practices, which is updating the vCenter server first and then updating the ESX host. Just to clarify, if you do have a 6.7 or 6 vCenter, you can't build a version 7 ESX host and add it to the vCenter which is 6.5, because that is not allowed. It's not going to allow you to add a vCenter which is 6.7. You need to rebuild it to 6.5, add it to your ESX vCenter server which is 6.5 or 6.7, and then when you are doing the upgrade, you upgrade your vCenter first, and then you go back and revisit the ESX host and upgrade them to version 7 or update them to version 7 according to your change plan or your migration plan. Okay, as you can see, we have already reached 80%. I'm going to pause the video. We are nearly 40 minutes in the recording, but I think we are going good. We don't have any issues so far. So Prashant has a question here. Prashant, go on.
Yeah, when we do a ESXL upgrade, is there any chances to fail or corrupt the ESXL server? That is my one of the question. And second question is, so if it is a VM, then we take a snapshot or some clone options we use. Since it is a ESXi host, how we will recover this?
Yeah, so VMs basically, very good question, Prashant. I really like it. So let's answer one of the questions. I will start by answering the second question first. The lab which you are running is virtual nested, the nested ESX host, right? Because
Yes.
you are installing ESX on virtual machines. But in production environment, that is not going to be the case. So you forget about taking a snapshot of your ESX host. That's never going to happen. You are going to have physical ESX host. Let's be very clear there. Okay. Now,
Yes.
when you're upgrading a physical ESX host, the easiest answer is, upgrading a ESX host, you may find things that can go wrong. Okay, when you are when you are having a version 6.0, 6.5 running or 6.7 running, and you are, say for example, you are upgrading it from these version to version 7, they can things can go wrong. Okay, and if it does go wrong and it doesn't upgrade, then you are left with the ESX host which is not basically booting properly, or it has a purple screen. Maybe when you're upgrading, you found that it doesn't have the right network driver and it can't communicate at all, so you can't reach to that ESX host. So these things happen, and this is the reason why I suggested that you need to have a test environment, you ideally with the same spec of hardware which you have in production. So what you should be cautious about is not just going and downloading an ISO from VMware, going to VMware and downloading the ISO for your manufacturer. If you're having an ESX server which is HP, download the ESX server 7.0 for HP. Yeah, if you're having Cisco UCS, download the version which is custom OEM build, they say. Yeah, custom OEM version for Cisco. That, by doing that extra due diligence, what you will avoid is issues where the network card doesn't work, issues where hardware compatibility things. Like the one which you normally get is a generic ESX version. But all these vendors have spent so much time with VMware. They have done a lot of research and testing and all that, and after that they basically create the version of ESX which is compatible with their hardware. And what you need to be looking at when you're doing upgrades like this, you need to find out the version which is for your hardware, for your particular from your particular vendor. You need to either get it from them, or even VMware does it. VMware basically, let me see who joined. Did someone join?
So I'm joining in my mobile because laptop battery gone down.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So what I wanted to do is, no, there was another file which I opened, right? So this is the VMware portal where we just downloaded VROps. So that's coming down the line, guys. Keep an eye on that. So we are going to reinstall VROps with version 8.6.2. The session will cover how to install VROps and also how to use VROps for monitoring and everything. Okay, so what we are going to do, I'm going to quickly show you how OVM side of things look. So download, I think the easiest way would be if you just go let's say, for example, let's see what comes up. Okay, customize, there you go, Dell EMC customize image of ESXi. Yeah, did you get my point now, Prashant? So if you get a customize, if you did
Yes.
that due diligence, there's a highly likelihood that your installation will go smoothly. This basically will have the right drivers for your hardware and everything. Yeah, and it will basically have the right everything correct. So this basically takes you the steps how to go to the VMware website, which is here, log in and find the version which we need. In this scenario, obviously we are going for vSphere, and then click on download, and when we go there we basically then select which version we want, and then custom ISOs is a tab which is at the far right, and if you click that you will find all the vendors and you can basically select it. Let's quickly do that while we are doing the installation in the background. Okay, so I just logged in on my dashboard. Let's go there. BCS7 evaluation edition. Nope, this is not where I wanted to go. Let's go back and check it on the Dell EMC website. Now that I have logged in, let's find the custom ISO. Let's go back to 100%. So there you go to my VMware and then you can download the product. Okay, I think let's do traditional way. Download ESX 7. There you go. Let's go here. Manual download. Not sure that they have changed the portal. Download licenses. Search for VSPHER. So VMware, vSphere drivers, and then HP custom add-ons. So this is again custom HP custom image for ESXi 7.0. Okay, so this is something like that. So HP is basically HP, right? From HP you get it. HP का customize image है ये. So this is basically to answer your question. This is the due diligence you need to do to get the correct ESX host image. Now if you go, these are all for HP, right? But you can find the similar one for Dell custom image or Cisco, okay, or IBM if you want to use IBM. But this is basically the custom image for HP, the ESX version. Yeah, does it answer the question, Sean?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so the other thing is what happens even if you get this and it doesn't work. If you're working upgrading 6.5 and 6.7 and it fails, so the other thing is basically you connect to the ILO or the ID rack, whichever it is, right? If it is HP ILO board, or if it is Dell, the ID rack, and then put the CD in, mount the CD, and install a fresh copy of ESX. Now before that, if you remember, we did a session on what was it? We did a session which was around customization, right? ESX customization, and we extracted a customization for the server. Now if you have a customization for 6.7, you can't use the 6.7 for version 7 when you build a new host. When you build a new host, you need to go through all the bits on your own, like install the NTP server, set the ESX policy for balance or whatever you want to do, and once you are happy with all the configuration, extract a new baseline customization for ESX, and then you can use that. Once you have it, you can use that to build all the ESX hosts as from fresh, and use the customization to deploy all the changes in one go. Obviously there will be some changes you need to do when you edit customization and then remediate it every time, but it will save you time from going through each and every step. Do you remember that session we did? Yeah, if you haven't seen that, please go back and check the customization which we did in the previous sessions.
Check it.
So the answer is, if you upgrade and it fails and it doesn't work well, you just basically do a fresh install of 7.0 and test whether that works fine. Okay, if that works fine, then basically there you are. You got a fresh install, you just do the customization, do all the changes and pull in customization, and that's how you would do. Because that basically means that your hardware is having something funny there and it's not allowing you to upgrade from one version to other. But if you do a fresh install, it's working okay. And again, all this you have to test it on your lab and make sure it is working before you do the actual upgrades. Okay, let's go back to our vSphere, and we are at 80% still, so I'm going to pause the screen. Hello guys, welcome back. So the installation is completed successfully. You can see the installation is complete 100%. You can click on close on that, and you can go back to the vCenter server. I would suggest to type it again and get a fresh browser or something, just to avoid any previous issues. for cookies and stuff. And there you go, your brand new vCenter, well, updated vCenter is here. No updates, and it is the latest version. This is the build we wanted to go for. It is 19.480.0.86. So yeah, that's how we update the vCenter server from one build number to the latest build number, or from like update 7.0.3a to B or C, whichever you want. So that's the entire process, line by line, I guess. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on you can message me on the comments below and I'll get back to you, or you can reach out to me on Twitter at Ibrahim Qureshi. So we just log into the vCenter again on the VMRC, and that's back on the update page, and it's saying it has this version now, and there's no updates here, as you can see. And if you go to the summary, it will say that it's got the latest version and uptime is 43 minutes, so it has been rebooted. 19.420.0866. So again, the same version which we are seeing here. So we have updated to the latest version, and there's no more updates there available. Okay, and the cool new feature is if you have updates, you'll see you'll see it here. You'll see you have updates available. You click on it and it takes you to the update tabs, and then you can do some compatibility and all that. All right, thank you very much for watching. Comment down below and let me know if you liked today's topic. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell to get all new updates from me. My blog is agileops.co.uk. Be sure to subscribe to my blog, because all the videos which I am covering on my YouTube channel, I'll be posting blog posts around it, so you can follow with step-by-step instructions with screenshots. I would love to hear from you, so you can follow me on Twitter and send me a message on Twitter, or you can send me a direct message at Ibrahim Qureshi, as you can see here. Enjoy watching and keep sharing. Cheers, bye.